Dumelang bakgaetsho, I'm Tebogo Tinti. Welcome to Time with Tea. Thank you so much for choosing to spend time with me. There are 5 things that I will always talk about: literature, performing arts, gender-based violence, agenda, and myself. Today I would like to speak about the latter because I decided that I would like to take this opportunity to answer just a few questions that I have been receiving since my appearance on Owami's podcast, To Hell and Back. Not only did I receive questions, I also received messages of support and encouragement and people telling me just how much they love me. And I want to say to every single one of you, I love you right back, and thank you for taking the time to reach out to me. One of the main questions that have been frequenting is how to deal with grief. And before I answer that one, I would like to answer the first one. What do you do for a living? My reaction to that question, I was like, I'm glad you asked. I am the host of Conversations with the Author, a literary program produced by the South African State Theatre and hosted by the institution. It is a program where I get to have conversations with authors about their latest body of work, and we unpack in front of a live audience, and book readers and book lovers get to come in and fellowship with their favorite authors and have their copies of the book signed, which is the cherry on top for every book lover. And I am also the host of On Set, another online program brought to you by the South African State Theatre, and it is available on the SAS TV app. All you have to do is go to www.sastv.co.za and follow to the app and follow the prompts, and then you can subscribe. So that is what I do. And I also have an online book club called The Book Nook, where we meet monthly online and discuss the book of the moment, which I will reveal a little later. And now to answer the question, how to deal with grief. Let me start by saying there is no formula. And I'm saying this with the utmost confidence because I went through the 12 steps program, Grieve. I went to therapy, and there was a period in my life where I was invested in finding out how to deal with grief. And this was shortly after my sister passed away. I was then diagnosed with depression, and I was hospitalized for a while. And during that time, my mind was not able to process. My mind was not able to process the information that was given to me because I was still so clouded and I was still in so much pain, and I was not receptive to anything that was trying to make sense of the fact that my sister was at a better place. Because in my mind and in my heart, a better place was with us. That's a better place. So anything that spoke against that, I was not willing to hear. So it didn't work for me at that time because I was not ready to hear that, and I was not ready to accept that. And I lived with that loss and with that hole for a very long time, and I self-destructed. I became very self-destructive, and I lost pieces of myself. I mean, the most important part of who I am died the day that my sister died. A part of my identity died the day that my sister died. So there was no formula. Nothing could have helped me deal with this at the time. Absolutely nothing. Years went by, and I experienced another loss. And I realized how you grieve differently, because even after my father left us, for me that was grief, because I was grieving somebody who was no longer with me, and by choice, like they made a decision to no longer be with me. They made a decision to no longer talk to me. So I was grieving that, and while I was still trying to deal with that, then the loss of my sister came, and it was all too much. And then I went through a period of a good 5 years of being lost in the world and just being a wanderer with no purpose and no direction. And a lot of other things happened in between. With a lot of other things that happened, now the question is, how do I deal with the loss of my daughter? The only thing that seemed to work for me, because nothing else did, I'm still in therapy to date, because I realized that I will always need somebody to talk to. I will always need somebody who is forced to listen to me, because I still struggle with getting close to people or letting people in, because I always feel like I am less deserving. So I'm in therapy so that I can feel that I belong somewhere, and that I'm a part of something. But grief, the only way that has worked for me is to accept what was happening to me and in my life. That as soon as I did that, there was a bit of light, a bit of hope, I could see a bit of direction. As soon as I accepted that, okay, this is where I'm at, and this is who I have, and this is who I don't have. So what do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do next? What's my next move? That's what helped quite a lot, because I realized that the resisting and the wanting things to be different hurt the most, because I hung on to them being here, and realizing that they were not would hurt all over again, like it's day one. So as soon as I accepted that, and I drilled it into my head, into my skull, that okay, this is happening, so what now? That's when I started to see a bit of light. So there is no formula to grief. There is no formula to, I can't tell you, step one, you're gonna be angry, because it doesn't happen the same way for everybody. What works for me might not necessarily work for the next person, but what works for everybody is acceptance, and what you do from there is custom. It is absolutely up to you what to do with you have to move with comfort. Now you have to do, because your world is uncomfortable. You've lost your safety blankets, you've lost the people that you adore the most, so everything brings you discomfort. So you have to move forward with what feels familiar to you, with what feels comfortable to you, because it's not going to be easy. The least that you can get or strive for is comfort. I can't say ease. It will not be easy. It's still not easy, because you grow into the pain. It's like when a tree or the root of a tree start growing through concrete, then the tree takes shape of the way that the concrete is around it. It takes shape. It doesn't fall off, it doesn't break, it just takes shape. So that's what grief is in your life. You grow into it and it takes shape into your life. But you can control what it does to you. For some people, grief makes them turn to substance. Grief makes them turn to destructive behavior. You become an addict of something, you become addicted to something. My drug of choice was people. I would get addicted to people. Even if they didn't treat me well, at least they were there. And then when I realized, oh no, people actually do leave and people too do pass away, and I turned to alcohol. I used to drink myself to sometimes to a stupor, sometimes to function. And with all this loss, I had a friend, TK Godu, may his soul also continue resting in peace. He was my sounding board. Even when I would self-destruct, I would call him in my self-destruction, and he would still manage to steer me to the right direction. So also when he passed, it felt like it was really over for me. I'm done. But the thing about, I don't want to sit here and preach, but the thing about God is that when you turn to him, he meets you where you are. So there was a point when I was just scrolling down YouTube, and I bumped into a sermon, and it was titled Girl Get Up, and I listened, and I actually wanted to get up, and my first step was having a confrontation with God. I remember just having a conversation with God, telling him everything, how I was upset with him and how I was disappointed in him for what he put me through and how I didn't deserve it and all of that. And I mentioned all the horrible things that I know that I did to other people. And I mentioned them. I remember saying every single one of them out loud, because I was like, even if I did this, I didn't deserve this. Even if I did this, I didn't deserve this. So I mouthed to God everything that could have been a fitting punishment. And even then, I couldn't find something that I would have done that would have been a fitting punishment to what I went through. And then I started to think about, but why would you do this to me and not do this too? And then there was no one I could mention. There was nobody I could mention. My mother had already lost a child. She's already gone through the most as well. I couldn't wish that on her. I couldn't wish that on my worst enemy, because the pain is so unbearable. And the only thing that I can tell somebody right now who is grieving is that accept it and grow into it. Every day is different. There are days that will be harder than others. There are days when you want to not participate in life and curl up on your couch or on your bed and weep. When those days come, allow yourself to do that. We often deny ourselves the opportunity to grieve because we tend to think, but also it won't change anything. It won't change anything, but it will make you feel what you need to feel. Because one thing I know about our bodies is that our bodies keeps score. So because your body keeps score, there are times when your body will remember something. It might not necessarily click for you in your brain at that moment, but your body will remember something and it will need to react. And when that happens, don't resist. Allow it, because it's keeping score. Same as your brain. Sometimes you will have a memory just go shoop, out of the blue. You will remember something that is heartbreaking. When that time comes, don't dismiss it. Sit in that moment and remember that, oh my goodness, I lost a child, I lost a sibling, and it still hurts. And then you feel that pain, and then accept it. Accept that you're feeling it, because you have to acknowledge it and you have to recognize it. Accept that you're feeling it, and then make your next move. But do not self-destruct. That is the only thing that I can tell you not to do. You will be tempted. You will be tempted to numb the pain with drugs, with alcohol, with sex, with food, with coffee, with tea, with whatever it is. Now my thing is, well, I drink coffee not because I'm using it to cope with something. It's just my emotional support drink. And I don't drink alcohol because I know that I tend to exceed the limit, because I want to stay in those feelings of how it makes me feel, but I'm also not in control, and that is my worst fear. I always want to be aware of what I'm feeling and where I am and who I'm with. So I don't drink. I only drink coffee, and I drink tea, and I drink my herbs. And do not be addicted to people, because people leave. And again, this is for me. You have to have your own way of functioning with people and without people. Don't depend on people so much that when they are not around, then you're gonna fall apart. You have to have your own independence to say, whether this person is here or not, I am still going to have another day. I'm still going to see another day. I'm still going to pursue a goal and fulfill my passion, and so on and so forth. Do not be so dependent on somebody else that you can't stand on your own. That is how I would answer my question. That is how I deal with my grief. I've accepted it. I've accepted that the people that I love are no longer here, and they are no longer here with me in the flesh, but they're here with me in other ways, based on our different beliefs. I believe that they are here with me in other ways. Sometimes it's people saying, I hear voices in my head. Sometimes those voices just speak to them, at least you're not alone. Sometimes they will tell you that you need to be medicated. It's really how you look at it. But my answer to how to deal with grief, that's what I did first. I first accepted it, and then I took it from there. And then I found all the things that didn't work, and now I'm finding everything that works. Books are my best friends. Authors are the loves of my life. So books and art, performing arts and music, it really helps. It really helps. And again, if you feel as though you need professional help, please do seek professional help. Ask for help, you'll get it. If you feel as though you can't handle some things on your own, you don't have to. Get help. I hope this helps. The other question, name and shame. I am afraid to name and shame because of the way that our laws are set up. It's unfortunate that sometimes our laws are set up to protect our perpetrators. I don't want to be sued. My bank account is not set up nicely for me to handle a lawsuit. There's also this Poppy Act. I don't want to find myself on the wrong side of the law. Unfortunately, when you are a victim, sometimes the law is very slow to see about you. It first protects the human being, whether the person is right or wrong. I don't want to be accused of violating somebody's right to privacy and things like that. But I have done an interview before, years ago. It was on Special Assignment. If you can find it, they show it. They show the person. They show the woman. If you can find that episode. If you can find the Special Assignment episode, then yeah. And then there was another SABC one. It was on SABC one, I think. Yeah, Isililo Samatwasa. I'm not sure if they mention her, but they go into more detail into her identity. That's where at least the media houses can handle all these things. The media houses and those journalists said that. I didn't say it. So yeah, that's it for now. I will try and come back. I will come back and answer more questions, especially about other difficult things. I'm gonna try. Otherwise, thank you so much for choosing to spend time with me, and you can reach out to me anytime, anywhere, across all social media networks. I am out for now. Love and light.